It's good, y'all. Welcome back to Niner Wire. I'm your host, Sam, and today we are here for the first episode of laying out the blueprint for the offseason positional preview, episode 1. Today, we're going to be focusing on DBs, cornerbacks, safeties, you name it. One of our biggest needs for this offseason, especially on the defensive side. So we're going to talk about our free agents. We're going to talk about who can we get in the draft, and we're going to talk about other free agents in general, see who we can add to this team and what is this backfield going to look like next year in 2021. And for this, I have a very special guest here today, Kobe right here. What's good, Kobe? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to getting into this, man. We talked a lot about this on Talking Niners, which I'm going to get into a little bit. So stay tuned for that. But cornerback, safeties, we're going to break it all down to you, lay out the blueprint here. So let's get into it. But before we do, make sure to follow me on Twitter at NinerWireSam. My Instagram's at NinerWire_YT. If you're watching this on Twitter, make sure to just subscribe to NinerWire on YouTube. Post a lot of stuff on all three platforms, more on YouTube, but as well as Twitter. Instagram, I don't post as much there, but Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, make sure to follow me on all those three places. Also, guys, got to check out Kobe on Twitter at BigKobe. Also, tune into the Faithful Four podcast. And guys, this is something I have not announced on my channel yet, but I'm joining Kobe as a co-host for Talking Niners. So Talking Niners with Kobe and Sam. We recorded an episode yesterday. May or may not come out. We'll see about that. But follow us on Twitter at Talking Niners Pod to make sure to get updates about the podcast. You want to say anything else about that, Kobe?
Not much to say. We're about to get into off-season talk. So if you want more off-season talk, in the podcast format, you can catch me and Sam over there.
Yeah, for sure. Make sure to DM us on Twitter too. We'll happily answer your questions about whatever you want on the show. We did a season review yesterday that may or may not come out, so stay tuned if it does come out. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them in the live chat below. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So let's start out with our defensive backs going into this offseason, who we currently have on the team and who we need to bring back, who's gone. And I want to start off with you, Kobe. Who, in your opinion, who's the most important guy to bring back on this team? Might have froze right there. All right, I guess I'll get this started. So, in my opinion, most important defensive back for this team, K'Waun Williams, without a doubt. All right, now you're back. So did you hear my question?
I did not. As soon as you asked me, it went out. So what'd you say?
Okay, so in your opinion, who is the best defensive back on this team that we need to bring back? Most important, I should say, defensive back that we need to bring back.
I think the obvious one's Veret. He's solid in man coverage, solid in zone. So yeah, but Veret, we don't need to say too much about him. We know how good he was this year. So I think Veret's number one. Number two, I would say K'Waun. K'Waun's probably number two, and number three would be Witherspoon. I know Mosley's a restricted free agent, so I think he'll be regardless. So just ranking them, I would say Veret 1, Williams 2, and then Witherspoon number 3.
Yeah, I got those three as well. Most important guys to bring back. I got the order a bit differently. I think K'Waun's number 1, in my opinion. And I do think there is an argument that he is easily replaceable. But considering what he brings to this team, I think that's pivotal for this defense. And I think that's something we need, and that presence that we need on this defense from K'Waun Williams. And I doubt other teams are going to want to re-sign him as well. So I definitely think we should get him back. We should be the team to get him back, and it's going to be important to get him back. Number 2, I do got Jason Veret. I definitely think he's up there with K'Waun Williams as one of the most important guys to bring back. And it's mainly because Richard Sherman, I think, is gone. I think he's already said that he's gone. It's kind of obvious that he's gone. So Jason Veret could be CB1 going into next year. So we'll have to see about that with Jason Veret, but I definitely think we need to re-sign him. Make sure you get a secure cornerback before going into the draft or free agency, because it can be hard to get those guys. And we'll take a look at both of those guys later, but both of those spots later. But especially in the draft, cornerbacks can take a while to develop. So I definitely think having Veret, making sure you get that number 1 guy locked up before you go into the rest of the offseason is important, in my opinion. Number 3, obviously, as you said, Kobe, Witherspoon. And in my opinion, I think a prove-it deal is going to be best for him. A prove-it deal. He was in the doghouse last year, came out of it. I think this is the opportunity. You give him a prove-it deal, prove it that you can stick outside the doghouse, because before that, he's been kind of in and out of the doghouse. Now he's kind of got out of it, but I think a prove-it deal might be good for him. I don't expect him to start on this team unless Lynch really loves him. I don't know about you, Kobe, but that's what I'm thinking about Witherspoon. I don't know if you can concur with that or anything, but yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
He was solid to end the year. I think it gives you some potential there. We saw a little bit of what Shanahan and Lynch thought they were getting when they drafted him with the third round pick in 2017. So I mean, I wouldn't mind having him back.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely with you on that. I would not mind having Ahkello Witherspoon back on this team. I mean, if he leaves, so be it. I don't think it's that big of a deal if he leaves, but he is definitely going to be a big part to cornerback depth next year if we bring him back on this team. So I definitely think it might be a good idea to do. Also, I don't know if it's just me or it's the viewers or you, but your camera's off. But I know you're having some internet issues, so that's all good. Just want to give you the heads up. There you go. Perfect.
Hang on, let me. I'm going to have to back out real quick so I can fix this really quickly.
All right, that's all good.
Yeah,
all right, that's all good. All right, no, you're good. All right, I'll make sure to talk about some cornerbacks real quick right now. But okay. I mean, I kind of said right there, Richard Sherman, I think he's gone. It's pretty straight. I mean, he's kind of said it already that he's gone. I don't think the team's going to bring him back. I don't think he was ever going to come back unless it was a franchise deal. I said that last offseason. It doesn't look like he's coming back now. He's kind of said it. So I think we can just say thank you to Richard Sherman and move on. I think it's now time to find a new cornerback one for this team, whether it be Jason Veret, whether it be someone we draft or someone we get in free agency. All right, other cornerbacks on this team. Emmanuel Moseley, Dante Johnson, Jamar Taylor. Let's start with Emmanuel Moseley because Kobe and I talked about on our season review show yesterday that we recorded for Talking Niners. He kind of fell off at the end of the season. And I don't know, going into last season, he was definitely a necessity. He was CB2. I don't know if that's the case anymore, man. I think Emmanuel Moseley could be gone. Again, kind of like Witherspoon, another depth piece. But after what I saw last season, I feel like Witherspoon could be the better cornerback now. I mean, he was playing well, playing better than Moseley towards the end of the year. He seems like he has that workhorse mentality that John Lynch is looking for in this team. Moseley, I'm not saying he doesn't work hard, but it seems like Witherspoon fits the system a lot more. And that's one of the reasons why they've kept sticking with Witherspoon, even when he's kind of failed expectations. They want him on this team. I know Shanahan put him in the doghouse. Guess what? He got out of it. He's one of the few players to get out of it as well. So I definitely think I would give the upper edge to Ahkello Witherspoon when comparing the cornerbacks. But Emmanuel Moseley, definitely another guy to keep an eye on. I don't know if he's necessarily staying with this team, but yeah, Emmanuel Moseley, I don't know if he's a necessity now. We'll have to see how that goes in free agency. Other two guys, Dante Johnson. Let's start with him. You already know my thoughts on Dante Johnson. I hate that man, but he's staying. You know why? Because he's Dante Johnson. That's simple. He comes back every year, does absolutely nothing for us, and John Lynch says, oh, you look like a good cornerback. I don't know what he's seeing, but he's going to get re-signed by the Niners. I'm just saying that right now. If he doesn't get re-signed, hallelujah, I will rejoice. But if he does, I'm not going to be surprised whatsoever because it's Dante Johnson. So, yeah. Last defensive back that we have on this team, or last cornerback, I should say, that we have on this team, Jamar Taylor. In my opinion, he definitely should be in the conversation for replacing K'Waun Williams if K'Waun Williams decides to leave in free agency. I don't think K'Waun Williams will, but Jamar Taylor, when he was healthy, man, he looked real good. I'm just going to say that right now. In my opinion, he looked real good. Is he K'Waun Williams? Absolutely not. But I definitely think he brings what K'Waun Williams brings to the table, similar in that range, I should say. He's kind of similar with K'Waun Williams, and I definitely think he can provide a lot of help for this defensive backfield. Play the nickel spot if K'Waun Williams is out, if he can play that, if there's an injury or anything, if he leaves. So I definitely think Jamar Taylor could be a good backup here. I'm not sweating if we don't bring him back, but I definitely think he's going to be a solid depth piece looking at what we need for this team. All right. So that's the cornerback situation right now. Moving on to safeties. And let's talk about safeties right now. So we only have 2 safeties being free agents, 2 out of 4. We got 1, you got Jakowski Tart. 2, you got Marcel Harris. And Marcel Harris, let's start with Marcel Harris, I guess. And I'll just make this quick. I have no preference if we want to bring him back or not. I mean, he didn't provide much last year, and he hasn't been providing as much as we want to see from him. And I think you saw it with Jimmy Ward's versatility. Jimmy Ward can play anywhere on the field. And we'll talk about Jimmy Ward's versatility a bit later because that's going to have a massive part in how we structure this defensive backfield because he can really play anywhere. So I don't think we necessarily need Marcel Harris. I'd much rather have a starting safety duo of Ward and Moore rather than Ward and Harris or Tart and Harris. I'd much rather have Ward and Moore or something like that. But yeah, so I don't think Marcel Harris really fits the scheme anymore, concerning what we need. So I mean, he fits the scheme, but fitting our needs, I don't think he fits our needs anymore. So I'm going to say bye-bye to Marcel Harris. I don't think he's coming back. Jakowski Tart now. On the other hand, Jakowski Tart, I mean, one of the best strong safeties in the league, in my opinion. Definitely a great safety to have on this team. Been a pivotal part to this team ever since he got drafted. And I believe it was 2015. But I think the thing with Jakowski Tart, it really depends on how much Jakowski Tart is asking for. Because, I mean, you look at Jakowski Tart, multiple people who know him fairly well have told him that he's one of the smartest guys they know. On the field and off the field, too. And it shows on field because he makes a significant impact with the IQ, the play that he provides on the field. He can do it all, man. So I definitely think Jakowski Tart, that could be one of the most pivotal decisions this offseason. Do you bring Jakowski Tart back or do you not? And as I said, it depends on how much he's asking for. We don't have that much cap. I don't know the exact numbers, but we still have to get a guy. We still have to re-sign Trent Williams. We still have to re-sign Kyle Juszczyk. We still have to re-sign a lot of guys. K'Waun Williams, as I just said. All those cornerbacks, as I just said. I mean, we don't have any cornerback who's on the roster next year that's not a free agent. So it's going to be a massive offseason for the secondary. And Jakowski Tart's really going to be the climax of that because we don't know his situation. I think it really depends. It's going to be a chain effect, domino effect on what happens to Jakowski Tart. If they're re-signing a lot of guys that they have for a lot of money, he's not getting re-signed. But if they aren't, if they're keeping it pretty cheap, Jakowski Tart probably comes back to this team. So it's going to suck if he leaves, but I definitely think it'll be okay if he leaves. I think he is replaceable, and we'll get into why later. It's mainly through free agency. The safety draft class is very weak, so we'll have to see what happens there. But I see Dom's comment right here. We should get a safety who should blitz like Jamal Adams. We're not getting Jamal Adams, but I definitely agree with you. I definitely think we should get I'm not necessarily a safety who blitzes because we don't run that many blitz plays. We ran a lot of blitz plays last year because of all the injuries. But when you have Bosa on the field, when you have Armstead and Kendall, when you have a healthy defense, I should say, the Niners do not blitz often. And I know that was with Robert Saleh. We have a new defensive coordinator in D'Amico Ryans. I feel like he's going to keep a similar scheme to Robert Saleh. So I don't think we're going to blitz that often. I think what you're really looking for is a guy who can stop the run, like Tart. And we'll get into that a bit more. A guy who can play zone, a guy who can stop the run. That's what you're really looking for in a safety for this team. A strong safety, I should say. You can put Ward at strong safety. If you want to do that, go ahead. I'm perfectly fine with that. But then you got to find a free safety who can do that. So I feel like just by the sense of what the Niners want to do, I feel like the Niners are probably going to put Ward at free safety. Strong safety is going to be a free agent or Jakowski Tart. We'll have to see what happens there. But, I mean, as you say, a lot of mobile quarterbacks in this league, man. A lot of mobile quarterbacks in the division. You got Kyler Murray. You got to face him twice a year. Next year, we might have to face Deshaun Watson twice a year, depending on where he ends up. We might have to face Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields. We don't know where any of those guys are ending up. So it could be a very interesting offseason, or season schedule, I should say, where there's going to be a lot of mobile quarterbacks. So we'll have to see what happens. But yeah. And then as for Jimmy Ward, Tarvarius Moore, I've been talking about them a lot. I think those two guys are safe. I think they're staying on the team. They're under contract for at least another year. I don't know what their contract situation is 100%, but they're under contract for next year. They will be back next year. So that's all good. All right. Kobe should be back fairly soon, I assume. He's fixing his internet issues, as I told you guys earlier in the stream. He restarted his computer. He had it happen on the Talking Niners yesterday, but we'll ignore that. We'll keep moving. The show must go on, whether or not someone has internet issues. So let's move into the draft. And so Kobe and I planned at the draft where I'm going to talk about the top three guys in this draft: Patrick Surtain, J.C. Horn, Caleb Farley. And those guys I did a lot of film analysis on yesterday. Kobe did some film analysis and other research on some other guys. I believe Asante Samuel Jr., Eric Stokes, and someone else. I'm forgetting who it is. But let's just start with Patrick Surtain out of Alabama. And in my opinion, from the film I watched, Patrick Surtain is easily the best cornerback in this draft. I know people are putting up Horn, Farley, Surtain. It seems like it's been a toss-up between those three. I disagree. I think Surtain is by far and away the best cornerback in the draft. You look at what he does in man coverage. He is absolutely insane in man coverage, man. And I definitely think if he's on a team that plays a lot of man coverage, in my opinion, he could be one of the best cornerbacks in the league one day. Easily. I definitely think Surtain could be a special talent, especially if he's on a team that plays a lot of man. That's why I keep mocking him to the Dallas Cowboys. It just seems like such a perfect fit. And man, that would suck if he went to the Cowboys, because I definitely think he's going to succeed in a big way there, I should say. So, yeah. But Surtain for the Niners, as for that part, the Niners should stay away from Patrick Surtain at all costs. And I just think it's a lose-lose situation if the 49ers get Patrick Surtain. First of all, Surtain, his two biggest weaknesses are his lateral quickness and his zone coverage. He's a man guy. He's a fully man guy, I'll say. His zone coverage is okay at best. If you want to get him for his zone coverage and draft him because you want to see his zone coverage on the field, you're looking at a 4th to 5th round talent. If you just want him to run zone, 4th or 5th round talent, it's the man that makes him a first round talent and the best cornerback in this draft. And for lateral quickness, a lot of teams like to run slants against him. Sometimes he's not the best at those. So I definitely think when you look at what the Niners need, the Niners run a lot of zone. They run a lot of zone. That's really the only part why I don't think Patrick Surtain fits the scheme. And that's why, and it's a lose-lose situation because first of all, the Niners are not going to get a first round talent with that pick. Second of all, Patrick Surtain's never going to reach his full ability, which I hope he does because the dude looks insane on film. So, yeah, man, I just don't. If the Niners draft Patrick Surtain, or if you see anyone who has the Niners drafting Patrick Surtain, I'm looking right at you, Walter Football. They have no clue what they're talking about. Speaking of Walter Football, they pissed me off because, they had one of their mock drafts had Elijah Vera Tucker going to us. And I like the pick, but their reasoning was because Trent Williams is gone. And I don't think that's happening whatsoever. So Walter Football, I'll just tell you guys right now, Walter Football is complete trash. Don't listen to them. That simple. We'll do a lot of draft stuff on my channel coming up. That's what you should actually listen to. That's where you're going to get the best draft content. So coming soon, maybe in March, maybe in April. We're talking about the draft now. Heck, let's talk about it now. So Niner Wire, if you want good draft content, ignore Walter Football, ignore CBS Sports, come to Niner Wire, watch some draft content later on. We're going to have a lot of it. It should be a very fun time. All right, J.C. Horn and Caleb Farley are the next two guys that I evaluated. So let's start off with J.C. Horn. So J.C. Horn, in my opinion, it's so close between him and Farley for cornerback 2, but I'm going to give J.C. Horn the edge, in my opinion. He's a zone and man guy, and I definitely think he plays a bit better than Farley. It's so close, though. Farley possesses the better traits, but I think when you look at play, J.C. Horn is that guy. And not to mention, he's also got that South Carolina connection, which Lynch has loved in the past. I know you got Javon Kinlaw, you got Deebo Samuel. I think J.C. Horn is probably going to be the better fit than Caleb Farley for this team. So J.C. Horn, I would happily have on this team. Same with Caleb Farley. I know Jimmy Sonny Salinas right here says that Farley does have injury issues. And yeah, that's true. And that's why that's definitely a reason why I think Horn's a bit of a better fit for us. I know we've been riddled by injuries throughout the past 2 years. But Caleb Farley he is really good too. First round talent all over him too. Same with J.C. Horn. I think most sites have Farley ranked over Horn, and it's close. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt there. I guess I can say, but Caleb Farley is definitely another guy. Plays a lot of zone coverage at Virginia Tech. Great player. You can just watch the film on him. He looks really good. So I definitely think that either of those two would be a great fit. The question is, will Lynch take a cornerback in the first round? Because we know that Lynch is notorious for not taking cornerbacks in the draft. So we'll have to see what happens right there. But yeah, I definitely think if you want to take a cornerback in the draft, your first round pick is a cornerback. If you want that to be a first round pick, you take Horn or Farley and avoid Surtain at all costs. Love Surtain. terrible fit with the Niners. Bring him to a team like Dallas. Bring him to a team that plays good man coverage. If he went to New England, man, that would be insane if he went to New England, man. I think New England would be another perfect fit. I don't think he's making it past Dallas, though. I think Dallas is probably where he's going to end up. If he goes past Dallas, I'll be kind of shocked because I definitely think, Dallas needs a cornerback. They play man coverage. You got that Alabama link with Trayvon Diggs. Those two were insane last year. It's just such a perfect fit. Fits the puzzle right well and right there in Dallas. So I'll just spoil it right now. If Surtain is available at pick 10 and the Cowboys still have their pick, Surtain will be mocked to the Cowboys every time for me, easily. So that's what's going to come in the mocks. That's what you're going to see in the mocks. Surtain will be a Cowboy if he is available when the Cowboys are picking. All right, Kobe. I don't know where Kobe is. We'll have to check in with him in a sec. But his Wi-Fi is super unstable. Let me just text him back. Give me 1 second. Is my audio working too? Because someone said that it's not. Someone just texted me that it's not. So can somebody just comment put that in the comments? I can change my mic. Maybe it says my audio is working. So I'm gonna roll along with the stream. It seems like it's working, but if it's not, please let me know. So that sounds good. Okay, perfect. Thanks for letting me know, Jimmy. All right. As for the safety position in the draft, it's such a weak class. I'll just say that right now. Such a weak class at safety. And I haven't done much research on it. I don't even know if I'm going to do much research on it because there's not that many safeties in the class that are very good. I mean, you're looking at the best safety in the class on most boards is Trayvon Moehrig, I think is that how you pronounce his name, out of TCU. And he's looking at like a fringe first-round guy, maybe second-round guy. I don't know where he's going to be, but it's a weak safety class. You're not going to see – the first safety should be taken within the 20s. I think the first safety that could be taken is probably with the Raiders pick because the Raiders just love reaching on players. So I think that's probably the first place where you're going to see a safety get taken, maybe. And that's just a maybe. I don't even know if that's going to happen. You may not see a safety get picked in the first round. But for what we need, I think you're looking, considering our other needs, I think you're looking at a guy probably through rounds 3 through 7, depending on what we do with the other picks. If we trade back, if we trade other picks for other players, we'll have to see how that works. But a few names I've got from other people that seem that like they know what they're talking about. Andre Cisco out of Syracuse seems like a guy that we can target. There's 2 guys out of Pitt and TCU, respectively. So 2 guys out of Pitt, 2 guys out of TCU, including Moehrig. I don't think we're going to get Moehrig, but he could fall in the draft. And again, I need to do a bit more research on the safeties in the draft. So we'll see what happens there. But okay. Anyways, so we talked about our current defensive backs. We talked about Patrick Surtain. We talked about J.C. Horn. We talked about Caleb Farley. Kobe should be coming back soon, any minute now. I don't know when he's coming back, but he's having some internet issues. So bear with us right now. He'll come back. We'll recap what we talked about with him. He'll talk about what he needs to talk about. So, yeah. All right. In the meantime, I will move on to free agency. This could be a pretty quick stream for me. I guess it's not really like a back and forth stream. It's more like I'm going first, Kobe's going next. But, hey, man, we'll roll with it. It's all good. So let's talk about free agents for me. And for me, cornerbacks and safeties, there are both a lot of free agents at both of those positions. And I think a lot of them fit this team. So let's start with the cornerbacks. I think cornerbacks are obviously going to be a bit more important than safety. But looking at the cornerbacks, there seem to be some really good fits. Starting off with Brian Poole of the New York Jets. I don't think the Jets have played really good zone coverage. I know last year in 2019 they played really good zone coverage. Obviously this year they kind of sucked, but Brian Poole looked pretty good in that secondary. I definitely think that is a solid piece to bring into this team. Get some zone coverage out of him. That's what we really do. However, I have a feeling that Robert Saleh is going to re-sign him, just knowing that, he plays zone coverage. He's not calling plays, though, so we'll have to see what happens. But I feel like looking what Brian Poole brings to the table, Robert Saleh is going to like him, so we'll have to see about that. Another guy, this guy I think could be one of the best fits for this team, in my opinion, and that's Troy Hill of the Los Angeles Rams. In my opinion, Troy Hill is probably going to be more of a slot guy who can replace Kenwell Williams if he leaves in free agency, maybe. But in my opinion, he's one of the best guys in zone coverage in this league. You bring him into this team, it's going to be a nightmare matchup for other guys. Not to mention, he knows the Rams system. We play the Rams twice a year, and he's going to know the Cardinals system and Seahawks system well, maybe. So we'll have to see about that. But Troy Hill, I think, would be a phenomenal fit for this team. If we can snag him from LA, it's going to look real good for us. Our secondary is going to improve a lot. I think Troy Hill could be one of the best fits out of all in my opinion, he is the best fit out of all the cornerbacks we can get in free agency. So if Troy Hill was a Niner, I would definitely take that. Another guy who's a great fit, Charvarius Ward of the Kansas City Chiefs. Great fit for this team. He covers really well both man and zone. I want to do a bit more film analysis on him, but I didn't get the chance to. But when I watch him with the Chiefs, he's all over the place. So I definitely think Charvarius Ward could be a great fit. Covering up guys. I mean, we definitely need a guy who can cover up the big receivers like DK Metcalf, like DeAndre Hopkins. We got to face Robert Woods twice a year as well, and Cooper Kupp. We got a lot of guys that we need for this team. And I definitely think Charvarius Ward can take on that challenge. He's the number 2 cornerback in Kansas City with Bashaud Breeland. I definitely think he can become a number 1 if he wanted to, if this team wanted him to. So I definitely think Charvarius Ward would be a fantastic fit for this team. Also, last guy who, in my opinion, has the biggest these are just the big impact guys. So I got 2 more guys. So we talked about Brian Poole, Charvarius Ward, Troy Hill. Another guy, I don't know if we're going to get him because he is a restricted free agent, but J.C. Jackson of the New England Patriots, another guy who plays great man and zone defense, had a stellar year this year. I think that's another guy to bring in. He brings to the table what Charvarius Ward brings, in my opinion, as well. So, I mean, the really big difference that he is a restricted free agent. So, I definitely think that J.C. Jackson could be a good fit for this team. Last guy, and I mean, I don't know if he would make as big as the impact of the other guys, but Kevin King of the Green Bay Packers, really guy who stands out to me. He's from Oakland. I'm from Oakland. I always like to root for him. It would be fun rooting for an Oakland guy on this team. So, I'll put Kevin King there just for my personal sake. We'll have to do a bit more research on him, but I definitely think that Kevin King could be a great fit for this team. Other options for this team, I don't think they would fit it's either that I don't think they would fit as well, or I don't think they're going to sign with this team. I think they'll go elsewhere. But some guys I want to mention real quick, Xavier Rhodes of the Indianapolis Colts, Dre Kirkpatrick and Patrick Peterson of the Cardinals, Desmond King of the he's not on the Chargers, he's on the Titans now, and Levi Wallace of the Buffalo Bills. I think all would be fantastic. I think Levi Wallace would probably be the best fit for this team when you look at it. But all of them, I think, would be decent fits for this team. Not the best, but okay. I could move Levi Wallace to biggest impact, but I think you look at the talent level. I think you just look at the talent level, and it's not that good. Xavier Rhodes, I think, will probably stay with Indianapolis, in my opinion. I also think the guys I mentioned before are probably better fits. We might not have the cap to sign him. I don't know, but I definitely think it's more that I think he stays in Indianapolis because he was such a pivotal part to that team, especially after really just having a big downfall with the Minnesota Vikings. So I definitely think Xavier Rhodes, crucial part to that Indianapolis team they were the 7th seed. I think they can do better. I think they're going to want to get Xavier Rhodes locked up. So he probably gets paid a decent amount by them. We'll have to see what happens there. But yeah, but I definitely think if you want to replace the guy who we really have to replace with cornerback is Richard Sherman. That is the main guy who you have to replace right there. So I definitely think, those guys I definitely think can all replace Richard Sherman fairly well. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But I definitely think Richard Sherman is probably the guy you want to focus on replacing. I think all those guys can replace us. If you want a guy who can replace K'Waun Williams, Troy Hill. There you go. Troy Hill is the guy. If you want to replace K'Waun Williams, bring him in. He's going to be your best option to replace K'Waun Williams. So definitely keep an eye on those guys. And then safety. This stream's moving pretty fast. Obviously, Kobe's having some internet issues. Hopefully he'll come back, talk about what he has to say. But let's move on to safety. And the biggest impact guys, I have a lot more for safety. Or no, I have the same amount for safety. Maybe do I? Yeah, I have the same amount for safety. I think I had 6 for cornerback. Now I got 6 for safety. Let's start with Keanu Neal. Obviously, the injury is the big concern, but he played with Shanahan that one year in Atlanta. Obviously, Shanahan controlled the offense, But I definitely think Keanu Neal would be a good fit for this team for what we need. The injury is going to be the big question, though. Obviously, the injury is going to be the biggest question for Keanu Neal. He's been injury prone his entire career, so we'll have to see what happens with that. Other guy that you're looking at right now, Dean Marlowe of the Buffalo Bills. He can help on special teams. He's all over the place when I see the Bills play. I definitely think we're going to have to see what happens with Dean Marlowe. A lot of zone coverage on the Bills, too. I definitely think he would be a fantastic fit for the Buffalo Bills. From the Buffalo Bills for the Niners, I should say. Another guy, this is a guy who I believe there were a lot of Niners rumors for him last year. He was on the trade block. This year, he is a free agent, an unrestricted free agent. Malik Hooker of the Indianapolis Colts, kind of like Xavier Rhodes. I mean, I think Xavier Rhodes would be a good fit for this team. I doubt we get him, though. Malik Hooker will be a great fit for this team, and I definitely think we can get him. I mean, he was a first-round pick back in 2017. Hasn't done too much with the Colts. They didn't really need him this year. He had some injury problems, I believe. But we did have some interest in him last year, reportedly. So we'll have to see what happens with Malik Hooker. But I definitely think he would be a great fit for this team. Great guy to replace Jakowski Tart. Because we don't know what the situation is with Jakowski Tart. So I definitely think Malik Hooker could be on this team again. So yeah. Another guy on this team that could help well. This guy's, I really highlighted this guy because he's good against the run, which Tart is good against the run too. That's Duron Harmon of the Detroit Lions. He's pretty good against the run, as I just said. I definitely think he would be a good fit for the team. Starting caliber safety with the Lions. He was with the Patriots before. But yeah, Hooker Torres, I forget which one it is, but he did have that injury. There is some injury concern with him. That is the big question, but you can get him on a cheap deal, which is really nice about Malik Hooker. And not all these safeties, but Malik Hooker in particular, we had some interest in him earlier. Now we don't, so we'll have to see what happens there. But the guy I want, going back to the Los Angeles Rams, John Johnson. I would be thrilled if we got John Johnson. In my opinion, he is one of the best safeties in football. I'll say it. I know Jordan said it on my Rams preview week 12. I'll say it now. John Johnson could be one of the best safeties in football. He could be in that conversation very soon on the Rams, and I would be thrilled if we got him. I don't know if we're going to get him. I don't know how we're going to get him. I don't know how other teams value him, but John Johnson could be a phenomenal fit with this team. Again, kind of like what I said with Troy Hill, helping out with the Rams system and everything. So I definitely think that would help a lot with John Johnson and doing well for this team. So those are my guys who I definitely think would make the biggest impact for this team. If you want to look at some other guys, there are definitely a lot of other guys on this team. A few guys I highlighted, Demarius Ramble, he's currently with the Seahawks. He knows the Seahawks system. Kind of more of a low-profile guy. He hasn't done that much since he was with Cleveland in 2018. But I definitely think he could be a good fit for this team, a solid fit. You're probably looking at a backup there, but Demarius Ramble could be a very good fit for this team. Another guy who I definitely think is a phenomenal fit for this team. There's no way in hell we're getting him. That's Marcus May of the New York Jets. If we get him, I would be absolutely shocked. It's not happening. I'll just throw it out there, though, because, I mean, he's a free agent. Anything can happen in free agency. We don't know. But we'll have to see what happens there. DJ Swearinger of the New Orleans Saints, another good fit, maybe. I mean, I just know the name. I haven't looked into him too much. I don't think he did much with New Orleans, but that's definitely a name that most football fans know. So definitely got to keep that on. Two last guys who I think would be great fits. Bradley Mcdougall of the New York Jets. He played alongside Marcus May. I definitely think, he knows the Seahawks system, as I said. Great fit. They play a lot of zone in New York. So I definitely think Bradley Mcdougall would be a good fit. And the last guy is Eric Harris of the Las Vegas Raiders. Another guy who, in my opinion, would be a good fit. One of the staples of their secondary, which isn't saying much, but he definitely can help us out here in the Bay Area. And I just want you guys just take a moment and realize what I said about the safeties real quick. You saw a lot of free safeties. You saw a lot of strong safeties. There's really a mix of both. And it really has to do with Jimmy Ward's versatility. And Kobe and I talked about this yesterday. Hopefully we'll come back in a sec. But his versatility is going to make this offseason so much easier for finding safeties. And I definitely think that he's going to be he's obviously a fantastic fit for this team, but really all those other guys can be fantastic fits as well. And that's because Jimmy Ward is making way for them, doing what he wants to do, playing wherever he wants. So yeah, so that's what I really got for Jimmy Ward and the stream. But I mean, that's really all I got. Let me just text Kobe. Let's see where Kobe is right now. Otherwise, if he's struggling, I might just end the stream. I might do a part 2 stream, get something with get something with Kobe back on. Hopefully he can get a chance to say what he wants. Cause I mean, I was looking forward to do the stream. Obviously internet issues really plagued my channel. I mean, I'm not blaming anyone for internet issues. It is what it is. But I mean, they've plagued some of my videos, but hey man, we know how to roll through it. We're used to it. We'll roll through it. We rolled through the stream. AC knows about it for sure, man. I don't know, but it is what it is. We'll have to see what happens there. But that sounds good. Let me hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. All right, but yeah, all right, let's look at some of the comments right there. So we'll do that right now. So this comment right here, we can possibly try to trade for Jair Alexander. No, we can't. No, we absolutely cannot. Jair Alexander is untouchable. I'm just going to say that right now. One of the best corners in the league, absolutely untouchable. If we get him, I will be shocked. The Packers are not giving Jair Alexander up on a rookie. He's on a rookie contract. They can 5th year him. They're contending for a Super Bowl. They're in the NFC Championship this week. Jair Alexander will not be a 49er. He's going to be a Green Bay Packer. No way in hell we do this. Period. I'm sorry. We're not doing that. Jimmy right here says, we should trade for Darnold. Go watch my Darnold video, man. I am all for trading for Sam Darnold. I mean, I uploaded Darnold video back in October, November, somewhere around there. I'm all for the Niners getting Sam Darnold. I know a lot of you guys watching hate me for that video, but I love Sam Darnold. I think he would be a fantastic fit for this team. Shanahan praised him. I don't know if he's going to be available, though. And either way, it's a win-win situation for us because we can either A, get Darnold, or B, if we don't and the Jets keep him, they're going to take a tackle. And that makes it easier for us to get a guy like Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. So I definitely think the Darnold situation is a win-win for us. Looking forward to it. So, yeah, it's all good. So, yeah. Give me 1 second. I'm just texting Kobe back. All right. So, yeah, and definitely, okay, and then trading up for Zach Wilson. So I've been doing some mock draft simulations, and I'm hoping to do last week I wanted to do a mock draft simulation with you guys, get an open mic on. You guys come on, do a mock draft simulation for the 49ers. I hope to do that in the future, but I'm going to be an open mic right there. So I'm going to leave it an open mic right there. So we'll see how it goes. But a lot of the mock draft simulations, I have the Niners trading up for Zach Wilson. I mean, it just makes sense. If Zach Wilson, I believe the best place to trade for him is pick 7 with the Lions. What was I saying? If the Lions don't trade Stafford, they're going to keep him. They're going to be a fantastic trade spot to get a quarterback. We've really got to jump Carolina. That's the team you really got to jump if you want a quarterback, in my opinion. So trading up for Zach Wilson is definitely a possibility. And I did not see that Mayhew got the GM job. I think I might have seen that actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, Mayhew did get the GM job in Washington. That was that's our VP. That was our VP, correct? If I'm right. So congrats for him. Oh, they just announced it. I think I heard a report yesterday that they got it. But yeah, Mayhew GM in Washington. I think that could be a good fit for him. So for football team, I should say. So we'll have to see what happens there. Am I going to make a video on Lance? Appreciate your content, though. I appreciate you, Jimmy, for saying that. I appreciate all the fans watching, everyone tuning in. I really appreciate you guys. I can't stress that enough, how awesome it makes me feel, how awesome these streams are with you guys. So, but as for a video on Lance, well, I'm definitely going to talk about Lance. As for making a video, I don't know if he's the best fit, man. I'd much rather have Justin Fields or Zach Wilson on this team than Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance is a bit of a project quarterback, so we'll have to see what happens with that. But I definitely think Trey Lance could be a good fit. I know I got into an argument with a few guys about Trey Lance, seeing what happens with them. But I definitely think if you want a quarterback for this team, you're looking at Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, and we're going to talk about all of this in draft content right here. I'm looking forward to draft content. I hope you guys are too. If you guys were here last year, you know all the draft content that was on my channel. I was uploaded a lot, man, and I just love doing draft content. Well, Jake will be on for a lot of my videos, so it should be really fun. So stay tuned for that right there. As for Mac Jones, here's my thing about Mac Jones. If we want Mac Jones, I am no way in hell am I taking him at 12. I'd much rather get a cornerback, offensive lineman. Even I'll take an edge over Mac Jones at 12. I think if you want Mac Jones, you're looking at a guy who you can get in the second round. I think if you want a guy like Mac Jones, I think you're probably looking at, I think Darnold's a bit better. I think keeping Garoppolo might be a bit better. We'll have to see. But I think you probably want a guy who can, like a young talent who has a lot of potential, or a guy who's more NFL ready. So I definitely think that's going to be looking really good. So yeah. Also, yeah, quarterback video. We're going to continue this series. This is just episode 1 of this series, guys. Next week, we got Vish Kumaran coming on. It should be a very fun episode. He and I talk a lot about quarterbacks. When we get to Sam Darnold, that should be really fun. Get your popcorn out for that. That should be very fun. But yeah, that should be a very fun video. I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah. All right. It looks like Kobe may not come back. He's having some internet issues, but it's all good. We rolled through the stream really quickly. I'll make sure to tweet out his stuff with Asante Samuel Jr., Eric Stokes, and who's the other guy? The other guy is Molden. I forget it. I don't know his first name. I haven't done much about that, but yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. I don't think we get two. I don't think this happens. We do not get 2 third rounders for Mayhew because he wasn't a GM or a coach. I think it only applies to those positions, which sucks, but it is what it is. By the way, I'll say it right now. A lot of people think I was racist for saying that that's a stupid rule. Not whatsoever. No, absolutely not. That is not racist. That's just, in my opinion, that's just a stupid rule. I think there are so many better ways to promote minority head coaches than giving teams 2 third rounders for that. In my opinion, I mean, you look at what the Niners have right now. The Niners had pick 12, 43, and then didn't have a pick until the 100s. That's like a 60 pick drop. Now the Niners have 12, 43, and 96. That is a significant difference. That helps us so much. And I don't think that's the way that teams should be promoting minority head coaches. I think they need a bit of a better rule. I do like the rule where you kind of have to interview maybe, I think 2 minority head coaches, maybe 1 is probably better because I feel like it sometimes forces the teams to do that, but I'm not going to get too political here. I definitely think that the NFL could have done it better, but it is what it is. So yeah, but yeah. And Jimmy, go check out my Darnold video, man. I make a 9-minute video on Sam Darnold. I definitely think it looks really good. It definitely is a good fit. So we'll have to see what happens, but yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to end the stream right now. Kobe's not coming back. That's just my analysis on the secondary. I'm going to hopefully tweet out Kobe's stuff. Hopefully he'll tweet it out. We'll see what happens. But anyways, guys, thanks for bearing with me through the stream. I know this was a bit of a different stream without Kobe, but it's all good. If you want some stuff with Kobe and I, make sure to tune in to the Talking Niners podcast with me and Kobe. Also, follow us on Twitter at Talking Niners Pod. We're going to get rolling soon, guys. So we're going to do weekly podcasts. Should be very fun. Mailbags. It's going to be very fun, guys. So make sure to follow us there. Make sure to tune in. And thank you guys all let me redo that. I don't want to stutter. I keep stuttering, man. It's all good, though. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Go Niners.